What's up, sports fans? It's time for another picks and predictions, and if I could take anything away from week number 5, you see it right over here, I would say do not listen to me about football at fucking all. That is what my takeaway is. My God. I mean, alright, so pool-wise, doing terribly. I mean, just look at that score. Now, to be fair, I also play some apps. Certain apps, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the names on, YouTube and yada, yada, yada. But I did actually do very well this week, especially Thursday night and Monday night football, outside of this. However, this... Okay, so... Rams lost. Alright, so, I mean, you're never always going to get the Thursday night game correct. So, okay, so we're 0-1 going in. And then my big upset pick. The Browns over the Vikings. And they had it. They bloody had it. You know what the problem with this is? You know what the problem with this score up here is? Is that it doesn't showcase me picking those 33 losses based on like really bad ideas or like, 40 to nothings or anything like that. No. What it doesn't show is things like this. Everybody picked the Vikings and the Browns dominated that game for 3 quarters. But this does not reflect that. It does not reflect the fact that Minnesota Vikings barely won that game and Cleveland Browns nearly had it, but you don't see that, right? And that is a common tale so far this year. That is a common tale going down this week because, yes, the Colts beat the Raiders to no one's great surprise. The Giants lost to the Saints. What? And then, of course, Cowboys beat up on the Jets. How about them Cowboys? But beating up on one of the dead last teams in the league doesn't fulfill me that well to be... Like, when I knew I was at this point, I already was like, the Cowboys should beat the Jets. They should always beat the Jets. And the fact of the matter is that this was not enough to change my mood. Especially since I picked against Philadelphia last week saying, alright, they're due for a loss. And of course I was wrong about that, just like Cleveland is deserving of a win. So flip that script and go boom, Cleveland loses and Philadelphia also loses to the Broncos. Now, the Broncos are not a terrible team. They're a very good team. But I did feel a little bit robbed on this one when I picked Tampa Bay last week. And Tampa Bay didn't show up for about 3 quarters of the game. That bothers me. It bothers me. It bothers me a lot. And then we move on to 2 wins that I actually made. But most people also picked this somehow. Most people picked the Panthers. Since when? I've been trying to chase the wins of the Panthers and been losing. They finally win one, but it doesn't give me a +1 on anybody. Then the Texans win, but nobody picked the Ravens with Lamar out, so it is what it is. Nonetheless, both those teams win, and then we go down to the Cardinals, once again disappointing me, and the Titans take a W, and I'm just... As you guys can see, which way? This way. What I'm talking about. I am so disappointed with myself here. Like, I haven't had a week like this in just... And then we move on. Tampa Bay barely beats the Seahawks, yada, yada, yada. And that was the toss-up game. Detroit Lions beat the Bengals. Nobody picked the Bengals. And then I lose 3 in a row. Sunday night football, Monday night football, everyday football, I lose. Chargers lose. The Bills lose. And the Chiefs lose. And as I've been saying, the Chiefs are not a good fucking team, alright? They are not top 5. They are not. The Cowboys can beat the Chiefs. And that's not coming from a Cowboy stance. That's coming from a very angry individual who has been betting on the Chiefs and had nothing but disappointment. Because this supposed new Patriots dynasty team didn't show it last year, hasn't been showing it this year. And yeah, I'm just done. I'm done picking the Chiefs. If they're not going up against the Jets or the Panthers, I'm just done with them. I'm 100% done with them. Okay. I think I got that out of my system. This week was terrible for me. I made some money, but not for this. For other reasons. That being said, the score is abysmal. It's terrible. We need literally another 16 points to even be considered viable. So we need we need a perfect week times 2 just to be considered in the running at this point. So yeah, this is the worst week. Let's move on to our picks for the next week and hope and pray that they're better. So as you guys can tell from this lineup over here, I'm not doing much on the upset wagon this week. I've got the Eagles over the Giants, the Broncos over the Jets, the Colts over the Cardinals, and even the Chargers over the Dolphins. I feel like these are all easy pickings. Easy pickings. Once again, last week screwed me over for a lot of things, so I'm literally going with alright, I'm not doing Hail Marys. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I will pick 1, maybe 2, but no, I'm going with the division. I'm going with what everyone says is going to happen. I'm going with that because I need to rack up some wins and get less losses. So, Patriots over Saints, if I had done a lot, depending on what happened last week, I could have seen myself picking the Saints with this game. However, due to the fact of above you, or above me, I should say, I'm going with the Patriots. I don't think they're a good team. Neither are the Saints. And knowing my luck, the Saints are going to come out and it'll be 27-3, and I'm an idiot for not going with my gut. But my gut obviously didn't work very well last week, so I have to sort of pinch hit a little bit here and go with the majority rather than the minority for this week. Steelers-Browns. Going with the Browns because the Browns always seem to give the Steelers a hard time, even when the Steelers were like Super Bowl level champions. The Browns still always gave them a hard time. And the Browns looked good against the Vikings. They screwed up at the end. But I got faith. So let's consider that an upset. Cowboys over Panthers. Even if you hate the Cowboys, even if you think, which by the way, number 1 offense, league-wide. Don't know how that's possible with our record, but it is the case. Nobody's picking the Panthers at this junction. So then we have Seahawks over Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars did just beat KC, but as I've been reiterating for a year and a half, Kansas City Chiefs are not a juggernaut. They were not for the last 2 years, and we're seeing the proof of it, and no one's willing to accept it because it's all three-peat season and stuff from last year. So, fact of the matter is, the Jaguars did a very good job. And I am all in on the fact that Lawrence did a fantastic job as a quarterback. However, Seahawks are more well-rounded, in my opinion, and I still think this will be an extremely tight game. I can see people picking the Jaguars. I can see people picking the Seahawks. Honestly, this one isn't an upset in either regard. Regardless who you pick, I think this is much closer down to the wire. I think this is a much closer game than some people are telling us it is. And I'm going to go with a 50-50 pick, and I'm going Seahawks on this one. Rams over Ravens, no question there. Even though the Rams just lost to San Francisco, I'm saying that the Ravens have been disappointing me all year long. And without Lamar, I'm just not... I don't know if even if he was back this week, I'm not sure if he is, but if he's back, I still got more faith in the Rams than I do the Ravens, so we're going with the Rams. Raiders, never going to pick the Raiders. No, I really don't think I'll ever pick the Raiders. And the Titans just came off a win. So they're feeling good. I think they're feeling better than the Raiders. And I think that this game is either a total dog walk. Yeah, it's a dog walk either way. I don't think this is a close game. Somebody's going to come out of the gate. They're going to fire, and it's going to be some... you're going to change the channel. It's going to be 27-3 at the half. And you're going to be like, what the hell happened? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with the Titans on that one. So 2 upset picks, really, Cleveland and Titans, if you want to call it that. And the rest of them are pretty easy pickings, as we say. Green Bay Packers over the Cincinnati Bengals, Buccaneers over 49ers, though because the 49ers just beat LA, I understand why most people won't pick the Buccaneers. Plus, the Buccaneers did have a hard win against the Seahawks, lost to the Eagles. There's a lot to be said for a lot there. There's a lot to be said. In all honesty, this is another more 50-50 game, a more coin flip game. But either way, I got more faith in the Buccaneers right now until the 49ers sort of find their feet in the next couple of weeks. Then I'll probably be back on the 49ers bandwagon once again. Lions over Chiefs, no question there. If I pick the Chiefs again this year, they're playing the Raiders or the Patriots. Somebody terrible, because I have no faith in them unless they show me a 5-0 record from here on. Then maybe we'll be going on that train, but not right now. Bills over Falcons. Bills sort of feeling a little bit like the Ravens and the Cowboys. A little bit of inconsistency here. You're supposed to be putting up 40 points and then you lose to mediocre teams. Supposedly mediocre teams. Meh. I don't know what to say about that one, but I'm still picking them this week. If they disappoint me this week, can't promise that I'll be picking them again. Just like how the Chiefs have screwed me, I don't think I'm going to have much faith in the Bills if they don't show up and destroy a Falcons team that, by the way, got 30-0'd by the Carolina Panthers. Just putting that out there. And the final game is Washington over the Bears. Obviously going with the Commanders. I thought about picking the Commanders last week. Obviously, I should have done that. I'm not mad at that loss. Because I think that was a fair matchup. But obviously, the Commanders are better than the Bears. So, on paper at least, but any given Sunday, or in this case, Monday, we'll have to wait and see. So, those are my picks for the latest week. What do you guys think? Let me know your picks. Comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you back here next week, and hopefully this has a much better differential between the wins and the losses and the tears. Just goddamn tears at this point. So, anyways, maybe somebody should pick the exact opposite of me at this point. I mean, obviously, I don't, by looking at this, I don't know football that well, obviously, so maybe if you want to spend a little bit of your extra, pocket change, go the exact opposite of this list and see how much it wins you, because you might be into something. You might be on to something great there. So, anyways, that being said, I already said, like, comment, subscribe. See you back here next week, sports fans. Have a good one. Sayonara.